If you're a service business owner who's tired of spending money on ads that bring in the wrong kind of clients, the ones who cancel, no-show, or price shop you to death, then this video is going to be for you because I want to show you how one of my clients, David from Manta Mobile Massage, went from struggling to fill his schedule with appointments to being fully booked and working on finding a bigger office space so that he can expand on his client fulfillment. And this was done through my company, Takai Media. We're a hybrid content and marketing agency that helps service business owners and coaches create content that brings in higher quality leads. The goal is simple: to create content that pre-sells all of your leads so that your sales team could spend more time closing and less time objection handling.
So my name is David. I'm the owner of Manta Massage in Boise, Idaho. And I work with athletes, chronic pain sufferers. And
when David first came to me, he was running one-off Instagram boosts, working with agencies that didn't understand his business, and relying on referrals to keep the lights on. But like most service providers, he struggled to market his services in a way that brought him consistent clientele. So let's hear what he had to say in his own words.
I think my biggest challenge was just not knowing how to navigate Meta, not knowing how to target certain audiences. I would do, a one-off kind of Instagram boost, but I was not seeing the return for the investment I was making into those attempts.
Yeah. Was there anything like specific that you were struggling with it?
I think just probably the consistency more than anything, because I would really only run things for a week or two and just wasn't confident that it was going to return eventually. Also wasn't tracking. I didn't know how to track the metrics to kind of hone in on demographics. And that seems to be something that's changed quite a bit, is getting the right population seeing my services, because that's what brought in 30 clients last month.
How did like before we started working together, how was your business kind of looking in terms of like regularness of clients, like bookings that you're getting? Can you kind of paint like a before picture?
Yeah, I think I was probably doing 7 to 10 clients a week before.
So you're averaging like, I guess, 40 clients or 40 sessions?
Yeah.
So when we started working together, you had mentioned like you were working with the other agency. They had built you like the funnel and stuff. And then you've basically attempted marketing in the past with another team. Like what did that experience look like?
They kind of got some images from me. They wanted to know like they want to know like what my goal was for how many sessions I wanted in a week or in a month. And they just kind of told me how much they're going to spend on ads. They would check in like once every 2 weeks just to ask if I was doing follow-ups with clients that showed interest. And yeah, they didn't really have much feedback other than that. They just said, all right, this is what we're spending, and give it this long to see a return. But I think I was with them for maybe 4 to 6 months. And just, I did not see as much return compared to what I'm seeing now.
It sounds to me like the plan that they gave you, was it like pretty surface level, or do you mind elaborating on that a bit more?
Yeah, I don't think they understood my industry so much. They just work with anybody that has an office, and like all over the place. But yeah, they didn't ask anything about like what I'm doing with the clients, or like what a session looks like, or what is important for an intake or for retention, if there's like planning that's involved in any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, they weren't really invested. Didn't feel like they were invested in me. They weren't like interested in like what is this that you're offering. They just said, let's just come up with an offer that sounds good. They didn't really care if that lined up with what my business is about, or the kind of image that I'm trying to portray to my audience. They were more concerned with let's just get something that will basically just get the job done.
So you felt like it was kind of like rushed through it or scrapped it together?
I just feel like they were stretched pretty thin. Like one guy that was managing me was also managing like 10 other clients and all of their teams. So when it was time to check in, they were just asking, how's it going with follow-up, but not asking, are you seeing return, or are you interested in changing something, or do you want to add something? They're never curious about what was going on other than just like this is their job. They have to touch base with me for 15 minutes.
So the main issue that David faced from his previous agency was that they wanted to promote a heavily discounted offer. And while that may sound good on paper, it can actually be detrimental to your business and your marketing budget in practice. So let's hear what he had to say about it.
The way they had it set up was that anybody that wanted a appointment, they would have to fill out like an information thing, and that would put them on the lead list. But if they didn't get all the way to booking their appointment, they would just put them in the leads thing, in that category. So then they instructed me to just call them and like give them more information or whatever. Even if they're not requesting it, they're just filling out this thing to see my calendar. So I would call them, and a lot of people were just confused as to why this like service is calling them to like promote their service to them. Well, like some people asked like how I got their phone number, just like kind of, it worked a few times. People were like, oh yeah, I started and then I forgot. Thanks for calling. I'll book something. But then most people were like, yeah, I'm not interested, or I can't afford it, or your schedule doesn't work with mine, or they'd be like, how'd you get this number? Don't pay and solicit service. So it felt kind of weird, and it's definitely not the norm for like a massage practice to call clients to come in. It's usually something, people seek the service specifically with the provider that they're comfortable with. They don't want to be, talked into it. So it just didn't really work for me. And I just didn't have the time to commit to calling all these people that, filled out their phone number and name. And that's pretty much all I had to go off of. It's like they were looking for massage. Here's their phone number and their name. And then I have to, talk to them. So there was just a lot of time commitment that I did not enjoy.
Yeah. And then basically it sounds to me too, like the traffic and the leads that you were getting were just like pretty bad ones too, right?
Yeah. I mentioned that to them several times that, the people that are coming in are just coming in because this deal is like too good, just a heavily discounted deal. And then they would, they'd come in for that, but then not anticipate the price afterward going up, for their follow-up appointments. So that got, just, I guess, poor quality leads, because they're not actually in the demographic that should have seen it. They were part of, something else that they could just couldn't afford the actual service. They could only afford the deal. So that was kind of the problem.
The problem wasn't his effort, it was the alignment of his content messaging. His content didn't reflect his value. His content reflected a bargain. When you market a bargain or a discount, it's very effective at attracting a volume of leads, but it's very bad at attracting quality leads. David's massage practice offers massage services that are over $100, which is on the higher end of what massages will typically cost, because he's offering something more specialized. He's focusing specifically on people with chronic pain. This can vary from athletes who need help with recovering faster, or people who get chronic pain from age, or even people who work corporate desk jobs and sitting all day takes a toll on their body. These are the types of people who need to invest in higher quality care for their body, and in order to do that, they need to have the financial means to come back on a regular basis. So when you are marketing a deal and putting the focus of your messaging on a deal, what it ends up doing is it attracts people who only buy things when they see a good deal. So I built a content and funnel system using my AI supported frameworks to create messaging around the ideal client avatar, which is somebody who experiences chronic pain. Originally, when we had started out, he told me that his ideal clients were athletes, corporate desk job employees, and entrepreneurs. So I put together content that spoke to those different avatars. But then I started to notice something that would end up changing the entire trajectory of his campaign. I noticed that Meta would spend 90% of the budget on older females and 10% of the budget on athletes and entrepreneurs. So that signaled to me that I should pivot the messaging to older females who experience chronic pain, which led me to thinking, what is the most common traits of older women? And from that research, that's when I started to learn that some of the most common pain points that they have is keeping the family together, mental load, and having to be the one who plans everything, which would lead them to stress, which can then lead to chronic pain in their body. So I started to rework the messaging of the ads to reflect the older female pain points and how it's led to dealing with chronic pain, and then positioning Manta Massage as the solution to those pain points. And here's what happened next.
Before, I would get a lot of like Facebook and Instagram messages asking me about the deal or asking for information.
At the beginning of when we were doing it together?
No, not what. With the
Oh.
previous agency, that was
okay.
something that I noticed that was different, because I was kind of anticipating that again when I started running the ads. But starting with you, after like the first, I don't know, month or two, when we started seeing a pretty consistent return, it was essentially just bookings. I wasn't getting a bunch of like spam and messages on Instagram and Facebook that I had to respond to. It was just people were directly booking appointments. So that was kind of a surprise to me, because I was anticipating having to talk to people and, you know, give them information about what the deal is and all that stuff. But yeah, that was a nice surprise that I didn't have to actually talk or convince anybody to come in or give them more information. It was just people saw it and booked right away, and then I would just see them in the office. So it was very streamlined. I think we said was it in September, we got like 29 new clients in that month. So like an average of basically a new client every day. That was a pretty big surprise. I don't know what happened there, but I guess the algorithm finally figured it out or something. But that was a pretty nice surprise. And I think the retention has been good for most of those. I wasn't expecting, you know, everybody to come in to retain those clients, especially people that just have something quick that they want, you know, worked on. But people, particularly with like chronic pain, I've been noticing more of the people that I like to work with coming in. So that was kind of been a nice surprise as well. Just not dealing with a bunch of the people that just want to, you know, relax or chill out for a day. It's more people that are committed and invested on working on something, and so they're coming back. So
yeah, so
shift in demographic has been a good surprise as well.
You're saying that the people that showed up are pretty much the ideal people that you wanted to work with, and it was pretty consistent that they all have the same issue?
The same, yeah, more or less, yeah. Chronic pain being the main issue, yeah.
Gotcha. And then how's the show up rate been? Like you were talking about how a lot of them have been coming back, right?
Yeah.
How about even the show up rate for people that do book? Has it been have the numbers been pretty consistent? Have there been like some no-shows? Like, can you kind of paint that picture?
Yeah, I think I've only had, probably less than 5 no-shows. Yeah, pretty much everybody shows up for their appointments. And again, that's something that is very different from the agency before, because I would have a lot of no-call, no-shows. And I'm not sure what really changed, if it was like the funnel and what kind of information they were giving out before. But before, I had multiple a week that were no-call, no-shows. So I was losing kind of a lot of potential revenue that way.
Right.
This time around, I think because of how clear the service offer is, people that are booking are actually showing up.
Yeah. If you had to give a rough percentage of the people that didn't show up from the previous agency you worked with, what would that number be?
Probably like 50%.
50%. Okay. That's crazy.
It was a lot of bookings, but then not showing up. I think it was too easy to book an appointment. Because they would just, you know, fill out a name and email and then book their appointment. But then they weren't getting like an intake form or anything else to kind of get them to realize that they've committed to this thing. So I'm not sure what's so different now. Maybe it's just the demographic, but it definitely seems like, about 50% of those people just never showed up, never called, and I didn't to, you know, collect a cancellation fee or anything. So that was frustrating, but that's changed a lot. So just because of the increase, I'm getting booked out a lot further, because I'm pretty solidly booked through most of the month already. And that's kind of given me at least the confidence to know that if I wanted to expand and hire another therapist, that I would actually there is enough demand now. And there's probably a lot of people that just aren't booking because of my availability and not having like an open schedule. And I was like, well, if I have a bigger space with a second office and another therapist, then I could potentially just, increase my income and grow the business, which is ultimately the goal, to get to that level. So yeah, just being like pretty consistent, as busy as I want to be. Basically, any open slot I put on my calendar is usually filled within the week of putting it on there.
Yeah.
I think that's
that you mean currently, like any open spot pretty much?
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. I didn't think it would be possible this soon.
Right.
Be considering expanding. But yeah, it's getting not overwhelming, but there's a lot of work. Anybody asks me, my other, therapist friends will ask me how busy I am. And I'm like, I'm as busy as I want to be. And I didn't think I would feel this way for like another 5 years, since I only started the physical, practice here 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So within, the first 6 months of working with you, I'm feeling like I could hire somebody else. So yeah, that's been amazing. I would love to say that we've been working together 6 months, but I don't know if is that right? I'm trying to think of when we started.
I think it was the
less.
I think it was the end of July.
Okay.
Yeah, so the end of July. I've been moderately keeping track. On the first month, July, I think I got you 4 clients. The second month, which was August, was like 10, I believe, and then September was 29. And then you lowered the ads. You ended up lowering the ad spend. So of course the clients coming in a little bit slower, but the cost average is still kind of the same. It was like $30 a client roughly, and then lowering the spend by half, it still actually maintained that average. So I feel like that's kind of been the sweet spot.
So yeah, 4 months that we've been working together, and then I lowered the spend because I was just I'm getting too busy, and I was like, I'm already fully booked for a month out. I don't need to be spending this much to stay, fully booked. And it seems like I've kind of hit the cruising altitude of like, I'm getting, booked within the same week that I put, an open spot on my calendar. And as long as I maintain that, I feel like
That's great. At least until you hire extra help, right?
Yeah, and then we'll be bumping it up again, I'm sure.
Yeah. So if another local business owner was thinking about hiring like me, but was kind of on the fence about it, what would you say to them?
I mean, for one, I would say I highly recommend working with you, but also to keep in mind that it's not like what I thought going into my first agency, which is like, it's going to be immediately amazing after a month. But you've been very upfront and transparent about like, this is what I'm seeing, this is what's happening, this is where your money is going, and this is how it's, how the system that you're using is learning, and how you're learning, and you're learning how to adapt the targeting and like those little tweaks that you've made to get people to actually show up in whatever part of the intake process. It's like just telling people, understand that it is an investment that does pay off, but you have to be consistent with it. It's not just like a quick boost to business. Like, lots of companies out there will, market their services like, get 30 new clients in a month, start today or whatever. It's like, it took us a couple months to get there, but it makes sense though when you're, talking me through it and explaining it. And that's something I really have appreciated about working with you. So I would recommend you to anybody that's trying to grow their business, just understanding that it's an investment that does pay off, but it's not a immediate thing, and nothing worthwhile is, immediate. So I appreciate your flexibility and your creativity and just you being able to come up with solutions quickly, like brainstorming with me for what makes the most sense for my business, and also being open to my own, critiques and feedback for stuff that you've offered. There's a lot of places out there that they would just say, just trust me and stick with the process. But you've been pretty cool about when I have, feedback about like, well, let's change the phrasing for this, or let's change, how this part of the system works. You've been really good about just saying, well, here's the pros and cons of that, instead of just saying yes or no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah. You're like, yeah,
Not
this
a no
is-
man, not a yes man.
Yeah, you're like just very realistic and just real, and that's what I really appreciate about working with you. It's just that you're always giving me like, here's the payoff, but here's the drawback. If you want to go this way, we can go this way. I feel like I'm in control, that it's not just you know, running the show, that it's, you know, you're taking my feedback and actually listening to that and incorporating it into our approach. So I think that's awesome and definitely worth the investment.
If you're a coach or service business owner who's ready to stop wasting money on agencies who treat you like another number on their client list and give you cookie cutter marketing strategies, and want custom, tailored to your business model marketing strategies to help fill your calendar with qualified leads or appointments, then click on the link in the description below to apply to work with me. And if you enjoyed this case study video, then be sure to click on this video up here to learn the strategies that I personally use to create David's messaging for his ads.